In this video, we will do an introduction on Adobe Experience Design or Adobe XD. This program is useful to create and share projects about apps, web pages, and also games. You can download Adobe Experience Design from Adobe's original website, so you can search for Adobe XD, find Adobe's website, and buy Adobe Experience Design. This program has a total price of 12.19 euros per month after a free trial version that lasts 7 days. So you will have a week to decide whether if you want to buy Adobe XD or not. You can also see that you will have access to other plans from this webpage, like this plan, in which you will have for a total price of 36.59 euros per month all of Adobe's programs. From this webpage, you can also take a first look on what Adobe XD is about. With this program, in fact, you can web design, you can app design, you can brand design, and also game design. Once you have bought and have downloaded Adobe Experience Design on your computer, you will find it in your computer apps. And once you've opened Adobe XD, you will have in front of you this welcome screen. Now, let's see what we can do from here. We can open a new file, so we can create a new Adobe XD document. We can also open files that are already in our computer, and later in this video we will see what kind of files we can open with XD. We can also go to learn from this side of the welcome screen and this side of the welcome screen, and if we click on go to learn, we will open an Adobe's web page in which we will have access to some tutorials given to us by Adobe itself. From the welcome screen, we can also have access to our files, the files that are shared with us. We can manage our links and also have access to our deleted files. To have access to the files that are shared with you and to manage your links, you will have to have an Adobe Creative Cloud account and also your internet connection on. From the welcome screen, you can also start a new document, and we see in front of us these different sizes, and from these icons we can understand that these sizes are referred to devices. In fact, since we use Adobe XD to design, for an example, a web page, this is going to be seen on a device. We know that our computers, our iPads, and our smartphones are measured in centimeters, but their screens are measured in pixels. So, when you work on an Adobe XD file, you will work on a file that's measured and proportioned in pixels. So, you can decide to design on a smartphone or iPad screen, on a web page screen, and also you can design Instagram stories, Twitter posts, or Facebook posts. And last but not least, you can decide to start a new document with your own custom sizes. So you can decide your width and height in pixels for your documents. We can see that all of these different devices have different sizes and different proportions between them. So I will introduce to you the concept of responsive design. Responsive design has born and it's developed to meet the need to maintain the same look on different devices, for an example of a web page. There are also these CMS. We can see some of the CMS like WorkSpace, which has an automated mechanism in which responsive design is already integrated. So, for an example, a web page can be automatically adapted to different sizes of different devices. So, this is very important for your design process, not only on Adobe XD, but you will have to remember that when you design something that's gonna be seen on a screen, you will have to do your design, to do your project in a way that it can be adapted to different screens with different dimensions. So, now we're back on the welcome screen. Let's try and open a file that's already in our computer. So we can click on Open, and we can see what kind of files we can open with XD. Of course, we can open XD files, but we can also open sketch files, Adobe Illustrator files, and Photoshop files. Now we will open an Adobe Illustrator file. We can click on our file, and this is our first look on our work interface. When you import a file from Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop to Adobe XD, it will also import the layers that you used on the other program. Now, since this is an Adobe Illustrator file, I've used vector objects. Like Adobe Illustrator, also Adobe XD has vector objects and tools. So, for example, we can see this layer, and it is a vector object, and in fact, in the right side of our work area, I can see the width and height of my object, of my layer, and also its position in space from X and Y. In fact, if I move my object, of course you can change your file on Adobe XD. We can see that if I move my object, the position changes. So it's very useful to be able to import and export files from Illustrator, Photoshop, and Adobe XD, because you can start a design, for example, on Adobe Illustrator, continue it on Adobe XD, and finish it on Adobe Photoshop. Now, let's go back to the welcome screen from this home icon. So we can click on it and we can close this file. Now that we're back on the welcome screen, we will open a new document. So we will decide the sizes of our document. For this video, we will use an iPhone 13 and 12 Pro Max. And we can open the page wider. So we have in front of us our work area, our Adobe XD interface. I'll remember to you that this video is only a first look on Adobe XD, so we will explain on other videos all of Adobe XD tools more specifically. We will have in this video only a first look, an introduction on the program. From here, from the left side of the work area, we can open new files, we can open files from our computers, we can open recent files, and also get UI kits, user interface kits. Of course, we can close our file, rename it, save it with a name, save it as a local document, export it, and import other files. We can also edit our objects in this file. We can cut, copy, and paste them. We can select them, deselect them, delete them. And if we click on Preferences, we can also change the language of our program. If we click on Object, we will have other options to transform our objects. I will remember to you, vector objects. In fact, if you already use Adobe Illustrator, you will have no problem recognizing these options. We can also have access to plugins. From this side of the work area, but also from here on the left side, we can have access to the plugins. If we click on View, we can also do some kinds of zooms, and we can also have access to the plugins, to the layers, and to the libraries. So from this side of the work area, we will have access to the libraries, to the layers, and to the plugins. From the option view, you can also share your grids, and you can hide your grids not only from here. You can show and hide your grids also from here. and you can also change their dimensions. We can have a layout grid or a square grid, and we can hide it. So, from the option window, you can have a preview of your, in this case, iPhone 13 and 12 Pro Max, which is now blank because we haven't inserted any element in our file. But of course, when you create an object on this file, you will see it's on your preview. So, last but not least, you can get help from Adobe XD. Now, let's see in which area are we. We can do our project onto the design workspace, but also onto the prototype workspace. The design workspace has a more graphic aspect. In this area, you will design your project. You will create the elements of your project, and into the prototype workspace, you will interact with the elements of your project. So the design area has more of a graphic aspect, while the prototype area has more of an interactive aspect. You can also share your files with an Adobe Creative Cloud account and also your internet connection on. Let's go back onto the design area. We have in front of us our iPhone 13 and 12 Pro Max, and of course, this is our artboard. This gray area is our workspace, and we can rename our artboard. So we can click on the current name and rename our file. So we will name it artboard 1. 1 because for a fact you can have multiple artboards on one work area. Now let's see how we can change the sizes of our documents. So we can choose the sizes of our documents from the welcome screen, as we did before. We can choose to have documents with predefined sizes and also custom sizes, but once we are on the work area, we can still change our document. So we can change our document from here and clicking on these circles and changing the sizes of the document, but also from the option transform, we can change the width and height of our document. Now, you can see that when we change the vertical size of our, in this case, iPhone 13, has appeared an hatch. This hatch indicates to us that the elements that are below it are not going to be seen on the screen of our iPhone in this case, but they're going to be seen only if you scroll in a vertical way. We will see on other videos that we can also change the position of our edge, but now we will go back with Ctrl Z and erase our changes on the document. So now let's see what we haven't seen on the right side of the screen. Of course, we saw that from transform we can see the width and height of our document and also its position in space, but we can also change the artboard if we want it on a vertical direction, but also on a horizontal direction. We have the option of responsive resize, which corresponds to the responsive design that I was talking about. We have a vertical scrolling, we have our document filled in blank, but we can also have our document transparent or with other colors, and we have already seen the grids. So, on the right side of the document, we can see our tools and the objects and elements that we can put into our artboard. So we can create rectangles, ellipses, or polygons. We can create lines and also use the pen tool. All of these tools are vectorial, and if you already use, as I've said before, Adobe Illustrator, you will have no problem using and recognizing them. You can also create a text and create, as I said, other artboards. If we click on this option and if we click again on the work area just one time with our finger on the left side of the mouse, we will create an artboard which has the same dimensions of the first artboard that we chose from the welcome screen. But if we keep our finger on the left side of the mouse, we can create an artboard with the dimensions that we want. Of course, we can change all of our artboard names and dimensions. And now we will erase these changes with Ctrl Z, and we can see now some tools, some things that will help us during all of the design process, not only in this program but also on other Adobe's programs. So we've already seen that we can do some types of zoom from the view option, but we can also zoom in with this icon. So you can create a window and it will zoom on the window that you selected. And also you can zoom in and zoom out with your keyboard, clicking on Ctrl- to zoom out and Ctrl+ to zoom in. Also, if you scroll with your finger on your mouse wheel, you will do a vertical scrolling, and if you keep your finger on your mouse wheel, you can do a pan. Now, we are finished with the introduction of Adobe Experience Design. You can ask every questions that you have right below on the comments of the video or on other videos, and I will now thank you to have seen this tutorial, this introduction about Adobe XD. I invite you to see the other tutorials that are in this account, and thank you again, and we will see each other on the new tutorial of Adobe XD.